Okay, so Evan, we're back to you for your next elimination.
Yeah, so this one, honestly, I could flip a coin between this and the next elimination. And still looking at the notes, I'm not even sure why I did this, but I'm going to say Y62.
Oh, okay. Now you see, the Y62 scored a win over the Land Cruiser 200 series, which even with the Toyota people mobilising an army there.
And look, I think it's getting better and better and better because I've tested it years ago before you had variable valve timing and things like that on the engine, and it wasn't that great. The Cruiser was here to here sort of thing. And the last test, like the fuel economy, I got it down between 2 litres per 100 difference between them. Like it's not a big deal. And we were fanging them. Like we were not looking after them at all. And I can't even, like, honestly, I'd probably buy the Y62 over a 200 series because I think as a value proposition, it's better value. But I've set a criteria and Y62.
Yeah, okay. That's going to
hurt. I'm not ready to upset anyone, but yeah, Y62.
Yeah, that's going to upset a lot of comments.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And you know, it's got amazing ground clearance as well. But okay, Y62 goes out. Dave, what are you eliminating next? I'm really curious.
Yeah, the Defender 90. Okay, so big fan, love it. But yeah, for all the reasons already mentioned, you know, it just doesn't now keep up. I mean, we're halfway through the list here, so we're not exactly eliminating a bad car, because I did that at the start with the Raptor. But yeah, no, sorry, but the Defender 90, look, beautiful car, love them. Have some friends that have taken them to amazing places and had a ball. But yeah, as far as working our way down this list now, yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Aaron, what's your next elimination?
Don't say it, Aaron.
Say again?
Sorry, Dave. We're parting ways here, buddy.
Oh, good.
For me, it's actually the 80 series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. Look, I think they're an extremely capable vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, they had great factory options, but they're pretty heavy. The drivetrain is great, and I'm sure it'd make it out. But sorry, it's just too big and heavy with what's left in the list, I think, compared to technology.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The fact it's got this far, I think, is testament to the fact that Toyota actually put twin lockers in it, or had the option to. I think only in the Sahara grade. So yeah, pretty impressive vehicle to have got this far. Yeah, with one which is that old as well. So yeah, that's great. All right, so my turn to eliminate the next challenge. And yeah, this gets harder and harder as it sort of goes up there. So looking at that lot there, I'm actually going to take out the G-Class Professional next. And the reason is the flex on it is not absolutely the best. It's got twin lockers, which is great, but it's got pretty long wheelbase, so the ramp over isn't fantastic there either, and it's not super maneuverable. So that's my reasons for eliminating it at this point there. I actually had a G-Class, not a Professional, the Wagon version, back to back with my Defender, and you know, it was incredible just how supple, how much more clearance the Defender had over over any form of terrain really than the G-Class there. But yeah, I do like it. For load carrying ability, it would have been right up there. All right, so Evan, we're back to you.
Feels like a wrong answer now. Everything feels wrong. 200 series.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why the 200? Because
like I said before, it's a flip of the coin. They're similar. It's a good thing. It's been around a long time. It's getting a bit old, and you know, my next response will address that there's a lot newer technology these days. It's a wonderful vehicle. I would happily own one, but yeah, 200.
Yeah, exactly. Interestingly, you've let the 76 survive.
Have I?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, you have.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of the things you're saying would ostensibly have knocked it out. Yet there it is.
I'm not a smart person. I shouldn't be trusted. Don't listen to my advice. Like,
well, look, I kind of think you've got a bit of a sting in the tail coming somewhere. There's some logic which we're yet to see.
There is some logic, yeah. So, when you put together a big article, you need to have some criteria, and it mightn't be the right answer for you or you, but you need to have consistency. And
yeah. The way I look at it is, if I've upset everybody equally, it must have been a good call.
They can't all be winners.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, Dave, what's next for you to eliminate?
I'm taking out the 80 series.
Taking out the 80 series. Well,
Yeah.
second death to the 80 series.
Yeah, which is sad. Look, I'd like to keep it there. I'd like to take one around Australia, but yeah, time to go. And honestly, it only hung on this song because of that, the fact that you could have got twin lockers in some of them. Growing up or first starting out in a four-wheel drive club as I was, I had an old Troopy which, had zero flex, and looked over my mates in 80 series that just walked everywhere. Here I was, breaking stuff and they were just walking through. So I had a great deal of 80 series envy back at the day. But yeah, no, that's the next one to go.
Okay. All right. Aaron, what's your next one to be eliminated? You're going to, you've already taken out the 80 series, so.
I have. Yeah, look, it's the Defender 90 for me. Well, I've had a bit of experience with them over the years, and I don't know if you've ever felt that feeling of dropping the nose of a short wheelbase vehicle off a 700 or 800 millimeter step. Look, I think they're fairly reliable, as long as you keep the oil up to them. But I think that they're fairly gnarly when you get into the tough stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would agree with that. Yeah. So my turn now. I've got to eliminate one more, and I'm going to take out the 80 series. Much as I've got respect for its incredible suspension flex, twin lockers, tractable engine, and everything else, it doesn't quite have the angles or some of the other traction aids the other vehicles have got. So for me, that's going to be the next one to go. All right, and back to you, Evan.
Okay. New Defender.
New Defender. Wow.
I haven't driven it, so I can't give it, full kudos. I've spoken to people that were, over in Africa driving at the launch and stuff, and they're very wrapped. I've driven plenty of other modern Land Rover products and how capable they are, and I just can't argue with the technology that's going to be in it. I think it's going to be a really good thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that leaves you're down to just 4 now. So, Dave, what are you going to eliminate next?
This hurts so much.
Yeah.
But it's the G-Wagen, the G-Professional.
And why the G-Wagen?
Oh, look, if this was, get you and 50 of your closest mates out of that situation with the payload the G-Wagen's got, it'd win. Its strength is payload. It's designed to carry a load. From my experience with them, if they are empty, they actually don't, like you mentioned before about their rear end, not particularly being very active. And that's the case, they're built to be loaded. If they're not, then they're kind of missing something, as is, in the same way Land Cruiser is, just these are obviously built to be much more heavily loaded. So do love the diff locks, do love the gearing, do love how simple they are to drive. We've spent a fair bit of time with them with fire crews and things. But yeah, just compared to the next 4 on the list, it's time for the G-Wagen to find the door.
Okay, that makes sense. Aaron, what are you going to take out next?
Look, Dave, we had a bit of a deviation there for a second, buddy, but we're back on track now. Look, I haven't had first-hand experience with these, but It's the only ute that's here, and we all like to drink beer when we're out camping.
There's the Raptor.
I said proper ute. So look, the obviously I've had experience with other Mercs in the range, and the fact that the military uses them in some form is testament to how good they are. They've got really good standard equipment. They look damn cool, and I know that doesn't help in the capability stakes, but it's gone for me now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that leaves me as the next one there. So yeah, 5 really capable vehicles here. So I'm thinking, okay, you've got to get across all sorts of terrain here. Yeah, the next one to go for me is going to be the 200 series, and that's pretty much because that's a really incredible vehicle. The traction control on that is amazing. It's actually even better if you put core control on, and I'll explain sometime why core control does a better job than humans. There's a really interesting reason behind that. But fundamentally, it's still kind of a long wheelbase vehicle, relatively small tyres compared to the rest of the vehicles there, clearances, etc. So yeah, I'm taking out the 200 series next. By the way, the 200 series actually has better flex despite being independent front suspension than some of the live axle vehicles on the market. So yeah. All right, and Evan, that brings us round to you again, the final 4.
Final 4. Okay, I'm picking the G-wagen next. It's purely because I've only driven one once over a weekend. It was a flash 300 grand thing. It was very different to what we're talking about here. I'm just not that experienced with them. But it also leads into the, my whole method of my madness here. Lockers.
Yeah, I have noticed, actually. I have noticed this, yeah.
Can't beat them. If I'm trying to get out of some pretty crummy situation, I know I've got lockers and I've got dependable. Everything's locked up. Clearances I can work with. I can track build. I can do other things to work around low-hanging fruit. I need to get the tyres. I need to get traction to the ground.
Sorry, no, that doesn't make sense. So if you're going to track build, then you can track build yourself so you don't need lockers.
That's true, but if you're talking about the leaf springs and things like that, which I like leaf springs. You can make them work. We're not about that. We're not having that discussion. It's more a familiarity thing. And if I had the choice, yeah, g-wagen.
Well, look, down to the final 4, and we're all looking fairly remarkably similar at the moment now. I wonder if we're all going to pick the same one as the top one. In fact, I don't think we are.
There's my order around there just to mix things up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, Dave. You're going to eliminate 4 to 3. What are you taking out?
Yeah, I'm taking out the new Defender. Having not driven one, seen one, or met a person who's sat in one. I'm sure they're going to be incredible. Just looking at, and Land Rover can build a car when new. If you live next door to a Land Rover mechanic, they're great. But yeah, look, I think it will be an amazing car. But it's in the company of 3 more very, very amazing off-road vehicles as well. So yeah, nothing against it. I'd love to spend some time in one, but I think that's just where we sit. If I actually get a bit of time in one, maybe it'd be further up the list, but I can't speak.
Okay. Aaron, what are you going to take out next?
The 200 series. But there's a couple of reasons. It's getting a bit antiquated now. And I don't think I could possibly, if we were stuck in the desert, I couldn't carry enough air filters to make sure that I wasn't going to get dusted. So, look, they're a great platform. They're still really, really popular. We do a lot of work on them still, but I think there's a couple of other better vehicles in this lineup.
Yeah. Look, I tend to agree with that. Yeah. All right. Interesting. So, down to me to go from 4 to 3, and yeah, amazing off-road vehicles here. No 2 ways about it. But I am actually going to eliminate the Y62 and I'm going to do that on the basis of angles, approach angles, departure, everything else there. It's got no means of really getting around that. One thing I really like about it, part of the reason it's got this far, is it's got incredible ground clearance, and that really tends to make a huge difference in many different cases there. So, and also its traction control is pretty amazing. In the Series 5, it's got a factory rear locker, lots of power. Counting against it though, it is heavy, and sometimes you want a light vehicle to be able to get through places, and a nimble vehicle as well. It's also physically big, and remember, in this scenario, we do have to pick our ways probably through narrow trails as well. So for those reasons, I'm going to regretfully say goodbye to the Y62. All right, that's now just lost me all the people from Y62 page that have followed me. Yeah, look at that, reactions on Facebook. Yeah, killing. So, Evan, top three. What do you, surely it's time for the 80 series to go. Surely.
76.
Oh God. Okay. All right, 76. Yeah, at last. Took you long enough.
Yeah. I want to love the 76. It's right up my alley, but for the dollars and what you get, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But in a survival situation, I'm talking high seal clearance. Obviously, leaf spring clearance isn't great, but I can work with that. I can slide through that. We got front and rear lockers. You've got a V8, no auto, which I debated about this for a long time because the auto would be a good thing. But in this scenario, I think the 76 would get me out, and also front and rear lockers.
Big fan of the front and rear lockers. Okay, good. Dave, what are you?
Oldest 35-year-old you ever met. Oh, it's got to have lockers, you know.
Yeah.
But that's my criteria. So
okay, good. All right, Dave, what's your next vehicle to eliminate?
The Y62. So, great car, love it. Would have bought one. Got a fleet discount from Toyota. Bought a 200 series. But look, they're brilliant. Every experience I've had with them has been really good, including sort of Nissan dealer weekends and things like that. The rear locker is good. I do like traction control. I think it's certainly Nissan's best example of traction control, easily. But yeah, just now in the company of the remaining two, it's the third one. So do like them.
I'm going to argue the case for the Y62 here on the basis that the Y62 is big, and so is the 200 series. They're pretty close in size. The Y62, I think, has got as good a traction system as the 200 series, or very close to it. But the Y62 has got way more ground clearance. So I don't see how you could place the Y62 behind the 200 on that basis.
That's great. Good thing it was my choice then, wasn't it, Robert? The 200, if we're going to talk about manoeuvrability, as you just heard, the 200 does have turn assist. Nothing else in this field has turn assist. That's very, very good if you've had a chance to play with it.
It's got what, sorry?
Turn assist.
Okay. Oh, turn assist, yeah. But hang on, you can just do a 3-point turn.
You're the one telling me that the Y62 is big and the track is narrow.
It is.
Here's
That's
the
why I've
solution
marked it
being
out.
provided by a manufacturer.
Yeah.
Dave looks a bit stunned.
poke the bear.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You've upset him.
Yeah.
Does the Y62, I believe, have an LSD as well as a diff lock in the rear, though? Does it not?
No, it's got a lock and traction control. I don't know about an LSD.
I think I'll have to double check that, but I've been told it does. It also has a dashboard that looks like a Canberra bloody casino. But anyway, that's
Okay. Well, look, I mean,
hashtag wood grain.
Well, yeah.
I mean, looks don't come into it. I didn't select you guys on the basis of looks, and they don't apply to these vehicles either. So, Aaron, what are you eliminating next?
This is getting the pointy end. I think on paper that Defender is an excellent vehicle. I think it's got a lot of potential. I want to see how it tracks in this market here in Australia. But as I think Dave said before, that Land Rover do know how to make vehicles. So I think I'd feel pretty confident with that vehicle.
Okay, so are you taking out the Defender? Is that what you're saying?
Defender's gone.
Defender's gone. Okay, right. Okay, so then that moves over to me, and I am also going to eliminate the Defender, but I'm going to take out the 90 because, you know, compared to the others, yeah, it's got its advantages, but it's small size, good ramp over, good approach. They're not going to compare to the Jeep's twin lockers, and the Jeep's got equivalently tall tyres and equivalent ground clearance. Better traction control. It's got the option of sway bar in, sway bar out, and the new Defender, I believe, will beat the old one. So I am going to take out the Defender 90 at this point. All right, so Evan, in fact, we're now down to the Ultimate, and interestingly, we have all, the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon is in the top 2 for all of us. Is it in the top 1? This is going to be interesting. And we've all ended up with another vehicle that will either be number 1 or number 2. Well, I think we've all been fairly consistent there as well. Interesting. All right. So, Evan, what order do you place these final 2 in?
Do you want them both at once, or I guess?
Well, look, it's in effect, if you choose one, then we know what the other one is, right? So,
right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Give us both.
I'll lay it down. All right, number 2.
Lay it down. Give it to us, right? I mean, I'm genuinely interested to know what it is that you've chosen here.
You want me to draw this out, or just let's just do it?
Well, no, I don't think we should draw it out. I think we should kind of get straight to the point.
Yep.
And really sort of talk about what these vehicles are without any further prevarication, dilly-dabbling, faffing around, etc. And, you know, so if you're ready to get straight to the point, are you?
Yeah. 80 series, number 2.
Number 2. Wrangler wins for Evan.
Because you've got a 4-wheel drive that's built for 4-wheel driving. You've got coil springs. You've got a good engine. You can get an auto. You've got front and rear lockers. You've got all these things. Everything's tucked up nicely on the chassis rail. Everything's protected. Yeah. The steering arms are up high, blah, 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 blah. It's built for forward driving. It'll get you out there. The Land Cruiser is actually one of the only vehicles I haven't owned. One day I think I probably will because, as you know, I'm obsessed with buying and selling forward drives. But yeah, the 80 series is my number 2, which leaves the Wrangler Rubicon as my number 1. Wow. It's the most capable four-wheel drive you can get out of the showroom. And you know this, Robert, we did the JK launch together.
We did.
In Tasmania.
Yeah.
And we took him on Climbey's track. We didn't know we were doing that. You know, it's not the craziest track, but it's a damn good test of a vehicle. I did not turn the lockers on once.
Well, I've got to say, you weren't doing your job as a journalist then, because you should have been testing the vehicle. But
I was testing traction control. I was pushing the limits of the vehicle, which I didn't exceed. So I was doing my job.
Yeah, I know. I actually have got a photograph of you pushing said limits, if you recall.
Yeah. I wasn't driving the best that day.
No, it was good.
All I needed was the factory sway bar disconnect to get me through that. I didn't get stuck at all during the day. We had other people that obviously did, but you got good tires.
Yeah.
The thing I hate about the Jeep is clearances, though. Like the steering arms hang low, the trailing arms hang low. It's all these core ingredients that they haven't got right. The 80 series did get right, I think. But the flex, the traction, the gearing, you can't beat me.
I tend to agree. And my overriding memory of that was when I was debogging that Jeep with Max Tracks, and someone said, "What are you doing with Max Tracks? They don't work in the mud." So, okay, go and stand over there, and we'll call you when it's done.
We were there for a while. You know, it's typical Tassie. The rain turned on, all that sort of stuff. I had one of the I won't name names, but a person on the trip asked for Maz Treks because they didn't know what Max Tracks were. So this shows the level of people we were dealing with. But I was super impressed. Like, you did really, really well getting that car out. Because we were stuck. They were really stuck. Yeah. And that wasn't a reflection on the vehicle. That was a reflection of the drive. And,
totally.
You know, it was the last hole of the day too, typical. But exactly. I was so impressed that stock vehicle got us through this really iconic track
Yeah.
with such little ease.
And just quickly, we should say well done, Jeep, for actually putting the vehicle through that. I've got a lot of respect for Jeep's ability in their own vehicles.
You'd remember, sorry to go on, but you'd remember from the criteria, or sorry, the itinerary we got from the day, it would be driving on sand dunes, going for a drive here, and then we're going to go back and oysters and wine and fancy stuff. Yeah. And the in-between stuff was climbing track, which is I know, we had no idea. It was such a fun trip. Did really well.
All right, so better move on then.
This, but
better move on. Dave, what's the order for your final two?
I'm eliminating the 200.
Okay.
Which leaves, of course, the Rubicon as the champion. Just on the 200, nothing else in this list can unbog itself. Okay, nothing else here has crawl control. Crawl control gets a lot of criticism from people who've never used it when they needed to use it. Most people who play with crawl control literally are just playing with crawl control. They're not actually in a position to actually see it do its thing. Whereas, you know, if you've actually seen crawl control do its thing, it's pretty amazing. And sometimes it might take a bit of rock stacking and a bit of road building, as you're talking about before, Evan, to just help it get over whatever it's doing. But yeah, nothing else in this list can get itself out of a hole. Whereas, in my opinion, the Jeep just won't stop in the hole anyway. The Jeep will just keep on going. So the clearances, the dip locks, yeah, just a beautifully well-engineered, built-for-purpose kind of car. So yeah, the Rubicon is a proud winner, but the 202 is pretty amazing.
Fantastic. All right, and Aaron, are you also following Dave this time, or are you going to go for the surprise winner?
No, that yellow beast is at the top for me.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this for 13 years that the Rubicon is the best bang for buck four-wheel drive vehicle on the market today, and it continues to be. I don't care if I judiciously remove the bumpers off my Y62 as I'm in the heavy stuff. The Y62 is an excellent vehicle. We've had a lot of experience with them. The technology is great. 33-inch tires is standard. Great ground clearance, as you said. Plenty of power. Transmission's good. Infotainment system is horrible. I know that doesn't.
It's not a factor. It's not a factor.
I know. So the Y62 is out next for me, which leaves the Rubicon on top.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Well, not a surprise to see the Rubicon come out on top then. And I've tested several Jeep JKs, had experience in the JL, trained in, etc. They're an incredible vehicle. What I like about them is just it's kind of the whole package. It's got pretty tall tyres, 32-inch tyres there, leading it to good ground clearance for a live axled vehicle. The traction control these days is pretty good in it. It's got the option of twin lockers. Approach angle's good. Ramp over, ish. Departure angle, great. So yeah, it's an incredible vehicle by every stretch of the imagination. But I place it second. And the reason I place it second is because I think the Defender, I actually haven't driven one, so it's amazing. How can I possibly put a vehicle I haven't driven first? Well, I've driven every other Land Rover air suspension terrain response vehicle since 2005. I've owned one, and when I say driven, I've really driven all of these cars, and every time they just get that little bit better. And if I look at the L663 Defender, it's got the tallest tyres out of any vehicle. I know how good the Discovery 4 and Range Rover Sport is. This has got 32-inch tyres. It's got ground clearance up to 291 millimetres, and it doesn't have a front locker, but frankly, it doesn't need it because it's got a rear locker and the front traction control is amazing. And it's got something else which none of the other vehicles can do here. It can raise itself up to get those angles even better than everything else. So it might not have the flex, but it does have the cross-linked air suspension there. It's got the ground clearance, it's got all the angles, it's got probably the deepest fording depth as well. I think 800-900 millimeters or something like that. It's very maneuverable because it's got a relatively tight turning circle sensitive that unlocks there. For me, I would actually take it over a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon in this scenario. So I'm going to dissent from you guys and run with the Defender.
You've literally given the best stock off-roader award to a car that's never gone off-road and you've never driven. Really, Robert?
That's not true, Dave. It clearly goes up on the gutter on the weekend to get washed. So, yeah, so that's not true.
Yeah. But yeah, when you look at the ground clearance on that, and then when you see one of those vehicles raised up to its maximum off-road height, it's got clearances which nothing else there can touch. And
I remember, do you remember the Ford Explorer, Robert?
Yes.
Ford Explorer, were famous in the off-roading world, not necessarily for being very good, but for catching fire. They also had that height adjustable suspension. And you remember, of course, what happened when you did push the up button? You then had no down travel. So clearance is great, but if the wheels aren't on the ground, it's not going to do it for you, is it? So
okay, but this is a misconception, Dave, because Land Rover have got cross-linked air suspension, and I did a webinar a while back where I showed how that actually works, and you actually do get suspension travel even when it's high up. Unlike, for example, the Jeep air suspension system, so you actually do get that. Now it doesn't have the flex of the Wrangler Rubicon, that's true, but it will still keep moving and it's still got clearances.
Or gearing.
No, it doesn't have that 80-to-1 gearing, but it's low enough, and the hill descent control on those things is amazing. So, yeah. Okay, so I think we've managed to. Any final comments from anyone on any part of this?
Don't shoot me.
Yeah. Keep watching and reading my content. Keep getting trained by Dave. Keep getting your car serviced by Aaron and Evan. And yeah. Well, look, guys. Any closing comments from you?
This is great. This is awesome, Rob, and thanks very much for inviting me. I've had a great time. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. It's been really interesting to see how you work through that. Dave, anything from you?
Yeah, like I just, thank you, firstly. Good to catch up, lads. None of us touched on KDSS also with the 200 series. If we're going to talk about having active suspension, I think it's an omission, because I certainly forgot about it too. An omission to not mention KDSS, which in those vehicles that it's fitted to is very, very good. We all know the back end of a 200 works a lot harder than the front, and that might be enough to get you through something. So sorry, 200 series owners like me, we omitted the KDSS, and that may have made all the difference. So.
And Evan, anything from yourself?
Yeah, look, again, thanks for having me. It's been wonderful. But I think the final point I'd like to make is the most capable vehicle is the most reliable one. So keep your vehicle serviced and fill it up with fuel and go and have fun.
Yeah,
because exactly. You've got a 6-inch lift in a whatever, on a stock whatever. If the stock whatever's reliable, you're going to have more fun than whatever's crazy done up all that stuff. So yeah, that's the point. But find the right vehicle for you that suits your needs and keep it reliable.
Yeah, and all of the 12 here are completely amazing. So that's fantastic. Well, look, guys, thanks so much for joining me on this. For everyone watching, this will be on my YouTube channel shortly, and please keep tuning into webinars. If you know any interesting people to come on and that could educate or entertain, or maybe both, do let me know. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the tracks. Cheers, guys.